Welcome to Project Headcanon. In the last video, we finished removing all references to the Disney canon and Legends dichotomy from the wiki. Now that we have essentially a wiki with just Legends content in it, let's get to work editing. The first thing I did was take all of the entries in Wikipedia's timeline of Legends media and chuck them into an Excel spreadsheet. I added a few extra columns, splitting the in-universe start and end dates, adding a column to note whether a source is in Legends only or also in Disney canon, and one to note where it falls on the hierarchy of canonicity. To actually populate that hierarchy, my initial thought was to make a sort of tier list, but that proved a bit too granular for my liking. Instead, I'm going to assign every source a number between 0 and 1, with 0 meaning I'm going to cut the whole thing, and 1 meaning I'm not going to cut anything from it. Because there are infinity numbers between 0 and 1, I can have precision in my placements. This might come as a surprise to anyone who knows me, but there are quite a few items here that I've never seen before, and a few more that I haven't seen in a long time. For the most part, I'm going to reread, rewatch, or re-listen to each piece of media, and probably make a specific video discussing it, before I make a judgment on its status for the wiki. That said, I'll make a few exceptions right off the bat. I'm assigning a value of 1 to all 3 original trilogy films and episodes 1 and 2 of the prequel trilogy. Why not episode 3? Well, as much as I like it, I actually like the novelization even better. So the book gets a 1, and the film gets a near-perfect 0.99. So what about media at the bottom end of the hierarchy? I've identified a suitable candidate for deletion to use as an example for what the cutting process entails. It's a promotional comic called Full of Surprises, and it tells the thrilling story of when Obi-Wan and Jango Fett had a space dogfight nearly identical to the one in episode 2, but earlier that same year. Hopefully the reasons for cutting it should be pretty self-explanatory, so let's get rid of it. We start by going to the special What Links Here page and put in the title of the comic as it appears on Wikipedia. This is why we didn't remove the appearances or sources sections way back during the setup phase. We can now see all of the articles that contain a link to this comic that we're trying to delete, as its title will appear in those sections of those articles. First, let's copy and paste that list somewhere for documentation purposes. Now we need to edit or delete them as appropriate to remove all references to this Full of Surprises comic. It's absolutely critical that we start at the bottom and work our way to the top. Here's an algorithm for determining whether to delete or edit each article in that list. First, check the appearances and sources sections. If they only contain links to the media that we're trying to delete, we should delete the article, otherwise no. Now, check What Links Here for this article and compare it to the list for the media that we're trying to delete. If anything links to the article but doesn't link to the media, we have to edit those pages to remove references to the article. Otherwise, we can just delete the entire article right now, as we'll get to those other articles further up the list. That's why we go from bottom to top. If we can't delete the article, we instead have to edit it such that it no longer contains any material that only appears in the source we're deleting. There's not really an algorithm for that, but the in-text citations can be very useful. If the source to be deleted is cited by a chunk of text, just delete that chunk of text. Otherwise, I think the only way to do this is manually. As you go up the list of articles and delete some of them, the resulting red links in articles higher up can be used to identify sections of text that should be deleted. Only once an article has been thoroughly scrubbed of all references to a deleted source can that source be removed from the appearances and sources sections. Once we're done that process for every article in this What Links Here list, we can finally add Full of Surprises to a newly created page for listing all cut content. And that is how to cut a piece of media from Project Headcanon. It may sound pretty complicated, but it's easy to get into the rhythm of it once you actually start doing it. Cutting Full of Surprises is relatively simple, as its story footprint is tiny, but the complexity does go up exponentially the more influential and numerous the deleted sources become. So that's all for this video. In the next one, we'll discuss our first large-scale cut, the Star Wars Holiday Special. I can't wait. Until then, may the Force be with you.